Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Dr. S.K. Rajan. I'm Chief of Neurospine Surgery and Additional Director of Neurosurgery at Artemis Agrim Institute of Neurosciences. I welcome you to this last episode of our awareness series on spinal problems. Today we will talk about cervical spondylosis. Cervical basically refers to the neck portion of our spine. So this is the neck portion of the spine, the chest portion and the lower back. So cervical is the neck portion, and spondylosis refers to wear and tear that happens in the bones, in the discs, in the joints of the neck. So cervical spondylosis basically refers to a wear and tear of bones and joints in the spinal neck, the neck part of spine. As you can imagine, because we're talking about wear and tear, aging is the major reason why cervical spondylosis happens. But that does not mean that only the elderly are going to suffer from cervical spondylosis. There are certain professions, there are certain risk factors that accelerate the development of cervical spondylosis in the younger population. So persons who are involved in jobs that require prolonged sitting or holding of the neck in a particular position for a longer time, such as teachers, such as computer professionals, such as dentists, hairdressers, and even long distance drivers, they all have a higher tendency to develop cervical spondylosis because of the same reason. Sleeping in an awkward position with too many pillows can put your neck at risk for cervical spondylosis. Also, people or students who study in an awkward position, for example studying in the bed looking deep down, they have a higher chances of developing cervical spondylosis. Then there is also a subgroup of people who are traveling to and fro from work, who would rather sometimes sleep while they are in a long commute and let the neck dangle. These are also high risk activities for cervical spondylosis. Smoking is also considered to be a major factor for accelerating cervical spondylosis, and also people who sit and watch TV in the wrong posture. Now they also have a high chance of developing cervical spondylosis. Symptoms of cervical spondylosis vary widely between different people. It may be simple stiffness of the neck or a more vague pain in the neck. In some patients you may have pain coming down your arm with tingling or numbness. And in other patients you may have an imbalance while walking or a weakness in the legs. And these symptoms may either present acutely, which means within a matter of a few days, or maybe a very slow gradual onset of these symptoms. Some people even experience headaches because of cervical spondylosis and even vertigo or dizziness in their heads. Problems such as pain shooting down your arm or imbalance in your walking are considered to be red flags or warning signs that something more serious is happening inside your neck. Any such patients, and also if patients who experience pain which is severe to moderate, which lasts for more than a week, should definitely show to a neurosurgeon. Well, for one, people who smoke should give up smoking, and people who sit in wrong postures should make sure that they sit in right posture. Like children who study, they should not be studying in the bed. Similarly, while watching TV, you should not watch TV while lying down in the bed. And while traveling, avoid dangling your neck, avoid letting it hang loose. Apart from that, some minor changes at your professional place, like changing the kind of desk that you have, changing the level of computer, all these also help in preventing cervical spondylosis pain from reappearing. The diagnosis of cervical spondylosis is something which is done based on the patient's history and also in the patient's examination. Most of these patients will not require any major investigations for diagnosis of cervical spondylosis. Only once the signs and symptoms of red flags appear, as we had discussed earlier, in those patients an MRI will be recommended, and an MRI will be able to clearly define the level of problem and also the extent of problem. Most of the people suffer from cervical spondylosis at an early stage, at a moderate degree of stenosis or moderate degree of changes, and these people, the cervical spondylosis is treated quite well with just a few set of precautions, taking some medications like anti-inflammatories, painkillers, and also following a certain regime of exercises and physiotherapy. Only in a small subset of patients we may require either some injections in the neck because the pain is not going with medicines, or we may require a surgery because there is pain which is going down your right arm, there is change in your handwriting, or there is an imbalance because of spinal cord compression, or there is weakness. In the end, I would like to say that cervical spondylosis is a largely medical problem which can be treated very well with just medicines, precautions and physiotherapy. But however, a certain subset of signs which are critical or which are considered to be red flags should not be ignored, and as soon as they develop, one should approach a super specialist for his treatment.